This hand is going to be really difficult. I really want to fold this hand because I'm pretty sure he has ace king and ace queen. Wow, okay. I have no clue what is going on. One of them has me beat, right? I already invested half of my chip stack, but that was so difficult.
Nasty spot, nasty spot. Against one opponent, because also think about what...
What the hell is going on?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Welcome everyone. We're live here streaming today with Königsblauer, a German pro gamer and streamer. He's very good in streaming teamfight tactics, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Also very much into poker, and today we decided, hey, you know what? Poker has a lot of similarities with esports and pro gaming. A lot of professional poker players have an esports background, and I think also a lot of pro gamers are into poker or have a poker background. So thank you for taking your time, Königsblauer. Welcome to the stream. And
thanks.
Tell us,
glad to be here.
What are we going to do today?
Today we are going to play some low stakes MTTs. And yeah, when I casually played last year a lot, I performed medium, and today I get some coaching from Bencb himself, and hope that I can improve a bit.
I hope I'll be able to help you, to give you some tips, so maybe you can have a second career as a poker player, or maybe one day you decide, you know what, I want to pursue a more professional poker career rather than staying into esports. Your name is Roman, right?
Yeah.
So is it okay if we call you Roman, or you want to be...
Of course.
Okay,
of course.
So Roman, then I would say we start some tables. We're gonna play some multi-table sitting ghosts today.
That's not that easy of a decision, I think. I definitely don't want to limp, so maybe I'm raising a bit with ace 9.
Okay.
The problem here is that most players will think that I have an ace in hand, right? Because if I raise under the gun, it should be really obvious. Most times, if I raise that early, I'm trying to c-bet, but c-betting on this board is a bit awkward. Otherwise, maybe they're thinking that I represent an overpair. Okay, so I got a gut shot straight with the 4. So maybe I'm checking. He limped pre-flop, so yeah, maybe he has a set. I'm not feeling that comfortable playing the hand anymore. I was really not sure how to play it pre-flop because my position was so early, and normally I am playing on tables with 6 players. I think my range should be a bit smaller.
Yeah. So first of all, when you're not so certain what happens, like when you don't feel so confident, tight is right. This is always a very good approach when you're not sure whether you should open raise or not, because especially you're going to make a lot of mistakes post-flop, because apparently you are not a professional poker player. You just played on the side and you tried it out. Sometimes tight is right. Just play few less hands and wait for good hands. That's the strongest approach you can go for in poker, especially in low stakes.
King Queen again. I'm down to 7 big blinds. Yeah, calling with 7 big blinds is weird, but I also don't want to fold this hand. Okay, now I maybe think different about this hand. After he raised 2x. I think I'm going to fold. If he would have folded or just flat called, maybe I would have gone all in, but not after his raise.
It's actually If you first in, when you have a Broadway hand, king queen, queen jack, jack 10, even 10-9 suited, and you have less than 10 big blinds, as a rule of thumb, from these late positions, button, cutoff, hijack, so these 3 positions around the button, you can just always go all in. And also think about the hands he would be open raising with. Also with the king queen, it's an okay fold. I would have preferred you going all in because he has hands like jack 10, queen jack. Even if he has an ace, you perform quite well. Always think about, put yourself in that position. What would you be min raising there, right? And there are a lot of worse hands. And when you have such a short stack,
right,
and you can get it all in with all the dead money, the big blind, the small blind, the antes, you even don't mind flipping. Because technically, even if you have only 40% likelihood of winning, it's still enough because there's the big blind, the small blind, and the antes in play.
Kings again. I think I'm going to raise it up. Let's see, but it's really early in the tournament. It's like the third hand, so I don't expect to get much out of the hand.
You can always expect to get a lot out of this hand. You played in 2018, right?
Yeah, I played in 2018. I made my A levels when I hit 18, and after my A levels with a few friends, I instantly started playing poker on PokerStars. Earlier we played in school, but just for fun. But my best tournaments were one tournament with over 1,000 players, where I was second place and had a bad beat for first place with full house over full house, and then I had a 300 player tournament where I finished first. So
nice, big pot here. Huh?
He made. He didn't made that much of a big bet on the flop, so maybe he is holding queen, but maybe also a lower pair like 5 or like some pocket pair. I really can't imagine that I'm being beat here. Oh, he hit the set. Was there a possibility for me to get out of the hand with kings?
No, not post flop. No way. I would have just gone on in pre-flop. Because as you see, people call everything. And this is what I would say.
Also recognized on low stakes that many people just go all
don't like folding. So essentially, when you have a good hand, you want to raise. So of course, kings, queen, in this spot, queens, kings, aces, jacks and tens, we have to be a bit more careful. But you see, you raise, there's a 3-bet, and he calls his pocket deuces. That's just insane. So pre-flop, just go all in. Once you face the re-raise, there was already 500 chips in the middle. You have around 1,400 behind. You just go all in.
So what are the hands you would consider going all in pre-flop in tournaments like this, like ace king,
queens,
kings, aces?
Yeah, it depends on the stack size. If you get shorter, like around 20, 20 to 25 big blinds, then I would also go all in with tens and jacks.
On 25 big blinds and got re-raised. I don't like playing tens post flop, so this is a situation where I would also all in. 25 big blinds is still kinda deep for those fast tournaments, but I really don't like playing this hands post flop.
Hold! Let's go! Yeah, very good reshove. Very good reshove, yeah. And you gotta hold those hands. And also, as I said, if you have a hand, unless you have a hand that doesn't need any protection at all, but kings on a queen high board, there might be an ace, there might be a jack, and then he decides not to go broke with king queen or ace queen anymore. So just on the flop, just raise, get it in. But pre-flop, always fast play. If you have aces, kings, especially in those positions, if you face a 3-bet, you 4-bet, just don't call. People stack off with way weekends, and if you run into aces, then it's a bad beat.
Okay, 7 ace in the big. Under the gun call, under the gun +1, 2.5x re-raise. They are both looking really strong, and my hand doesn't seem that strong anymore. But if he calls, I'm getting a good price on my 180 into a pot of nearly 700. That should be a flop that's good for me. The only thing that's really threatening here is like an overpair. So maybe I'm going for a polarizing bet. So worse hands are just folding, and if someone is calling or re-raising here, he most certainly has a better hand. The only thing I can imagine right now is the overpair. Okay, nice one. Was a real.
It's an interesting thought process you have, but you can also accomplish the same with betting less. So your goal is just to protect your hand, right, and get information. It's not a horrible lead, because on this board you can represent a lot of good hands, so you're doing it intuitively quite good there. You can have 2 pairs, straights, even something like 8-7 is a coin flip against an overpair. You have around 13 outs depending on what kind of overpair your opponent has, right? Okay. So that means that leading here is actually quite good. I would just, sizing wise, a little bit smaller, 300, 400. You basically, you just want to protect against a hand like queen jack, jack 10, king queen that doesn't see a turn and hit his outs. So then you save 500 chips. By the way, Just one more thought on the last hand. You said you called A7
Yeah.
off because you get a good price, because the other guy might be overcalling. Don't forget the other guy might also be re-raising. So it equalizes each other. It shouldn't influence your decision, because he still, there's some player left to act that can make an action that leads you to fold.
This hand is going to be really difficult. Everyone just limped in, then I raised and one of the limpers 3-betted. So I'm really thinking what they have. I'm obviously getting beat by ace king and ace queen. There's also a flush draw out, but I'm blocking the nut flush, something I should also consider. Oh, it's so difficult. I really want to fold this hand, because I'm pretty sure he has ace king and ace queen. But folding in the spot looks really weird. Can I just fold against ace king and ace queen? There are no other hands except maybe tens that are in his range. Wow, okay. I have no clue what is going on. One of them has me beat, right? I already invested half of my chip stack, but that was so difficult.
Nasty spot. Against one opponent, because also think about what
the hell is going on? What?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Against what? It's low stake. And also, if someone limps behind, he's very likely not going to have ace king, ace queen. That happens 1% of the time. So people love to overplay their weak top pairs. He says, "Oh, I made an ace. Let's put in money." Yeah, guys, as we've seen, the 9-6 offsuited hand there. This is micro stakes, but that's why it's so much more important to play your value hand straightforward. People are going to call you with everything pre-flop if you start strong hand. And it's a common mistake amongst a lot of micro, low stakes and mid stakes players, that they're not exploiting weaker opponents as much as they're supposed to. If you have a strong hand, playing straightforward, being greedy, betting big, re-raising pre-flop, not being afraid of running into ace or a king, so to better, and more often they're going to have a weaker hand. In the long run, it's going to pay off more.
8 queen suited should be fine, like it has straight potential, flush potential. Wow, okay.
It's always funny how excited you are. I love it.
I'm absolutely not sure, but I think I can call. So what does he have? I only beat bluffs and like, I don't know, like I beat pocket jacks, pocket nines, pocket eights, and bluffs. So what can he have that beats me? A 10 or a queen with a higher kicker. Especially like the 8 is something I don't like about my hand. Yeah, I just don't feel like he's bluffing.
Good fold.
Holy, that was a close one.
Yeah, very good fold there. Yeah, you want to have at least queen jack there to beat queen 9, queen 8.
Yeah, that's what I said about my 8. It was probably just not high enough.
Very good fold. I dare Hoven. I think you have a pretty big leak here if you say that you don't understand these calls when you put in your 1/3 of your stack and then fold. Well, essentially, you always put a fraction of your stack in and then you consider folding on the later street. Just because you call 1/3 of your stack on the flop doesn't mean you have to invest the rest of your stack on the turn. As we've seen, it's good enough to call once and then we fold on the turn. It's that easy. Just because you commit 1/3 of your stack doesn't mean you have to commit the rest of it. Sometimes you commit half of your stack and then you fold. Like when you don't get the odds, when your opponent is not bluffing, never, like maybe 5% of the time, you're still not getting the right price to call. It's simple math.
Okay, yeah, this time, like I can go with, I don't know, 150, so 3 times, and this time I am in position, maybe just take the blind stick. Oh, I'm so stupid. That was a bit unfortunate, I would say. I was not paying enough attention.
I think it was a good fold, to be honest, if you see the action.
Oh wow! Wow! Oh, I was so lucky.
Oh my god!
Fold with ace 3.
Oh my god!
I definitely dodged a bullet right there.
But this guy watched the stream. He's like, really, really. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think that I can call it. Well, let's gamble. Wow. Okay, looks like I'm running good, but I was so unsure. Yeah, what would you say? Was it a good call?
I would have called a7 off and better, but this is something that is, if you don't study these spots, you don't know what to call there. So you just go with your intuition, and some players would call ace deuce off. You would have folded ace 4 off for sure. So
I got queen ace that are like 14 big blinds, I most certainly shove this hand. Okay, he's calling me with a7. Get in there. Wow, there's the queen.
Nice. Let's go.
Okay, nice. 2-1 chip lead. Ace 3, he has 10 big blinds. He's going to call with a lot of worse hands, so get in there.
Hold.
Nice one.
3. Let's go.
Third tournament and the first.
You took it down.
First.
Nice. Congrats. Well done.
Nice one.
Well played. RA16V, you have a question. Hey, thanks for your kind words, first and foremost. I have a question regarding the mental part of the game, how to tackle tilt. Very frequently I end up busting my bankroll because I have a losing session and my opponents catch my 2-3 outers. I cannot quit such sessions and keep on playing more and more until I go broke. Of course, the longer I stay, the worse I play. How to find the strength and let go. So essentially, first of all, you need to have good bankroll management, because if you go broke, you have poor bankroll management. A bankroll management would protect you against going broke, because you have the ability, or you have a structure and a plan to move down in stakes when things are not going so well. So in terms of mindset, it's very often a big fallacy that players think they have to fix something during their games. But very often it's something actually that comes from outside of poker. So I would very much try to look at, where does your tilt come from? What type of tilt is it? Is it that you rage about someone is sucking you out? Is it about players making stupid mistakes and get rewarded for it? Is it you being card dead? Is it then that you start playing passive? Are you punting it off? What are the reasons you're tilting, and what is the result? What kind of tilt are you showing? And try to find similarities in your life. Because even if you fix it in poker, if you don't fix it outside of poker, it's gonna come back. So where do you show similar traits in your everyday life? Are you quickly heated in conversations? Are you raging over small stuff? Are you getting afraid? Of being afraid, anxieties in playing poker is also a form of tilt when players are getting money scared, too passive and too tight. Are you someone that doesn't enjoy taking risk and gets too cautious? I mean, when you bust your bankroll, I'm afraid, or I'm pretty much sure that this is not the case. But just showing you that all these sorts of different types of tilts come somewhere also in your everyday life to the surface. So it's very, very important, not only trying to tackle that in poker, but also in your everyday life. And the first step, and this is a very important step, is trying to recognize it. Write it down, make some sort of documentary journal about your, like some sort of tilt book, and then you will start becoming more aware of it. And the next step then would, of course, be to take proactive action, such as meditating, visualization exercises, where you can visualize yourself remaining calm and cool in those situations. Just some very simple breath work, putting the awareness on your breath, which trains you to stay in control when those instances happen, when those emotions arise, that you feel anger and rage about a bad beat, that you stay in control. Because what happens when you bust your bankroll is you are not able to stay in control and you try to chase the losses. Fuck, I had a losing session, I need to grind it back. And then once you are able to stay in control, more often you realize, all right, what's going on? I'm not in control anymore. All right, let's stop playing. And then you'll be able to make these conscious decisions as well. So that would be my approach. That's how I'm doing it. Of course, there are many different approaches, but I think it's a very successful way. It's a hard way. It sounds simple. I know it's not so easy to apply, because it basically just needs you to put in some time and effort, and then put yourself at proper bankroll management. How many buy-ins are you want to play? Usually around 100, 200, depends if you have a lot of hyper, turbo, freeze-out tournaments, like the structure. Go for 200, even though you play very soft structures, and be very strict about your bankroll management. And last but not least, is something I have to mention. If you bust your bankroll over and over again, then maybe you should consider stop playing poker and seek professional help, because this might also be a sort of gambling addiction and not tilting anymore. And then you should seek some serious professional help. And then also my advice won't help you, and you need some professional guidance on that.
So I get like one 1 in 3 or something like that in pot odds, and yeah, normally I should have like 30%, 35% versus most hands. So let's go for it. Oh wow, okay. I'm really beat here. 5? Feels bad.
Yeah, but you have to call it off. There's just too much
Yeah.
dead money in the middle. All right. How did you enjoy the stream? How did you enjoy the experience playing poker?
Yeah, I enjoyed it really much, especially the fact that even though it were like just 6 or 7 tournaments, we got one tournament win, and yeah, also some situations were just like super funny, where I forgot the hand where I had ace queen and ran out of time bank when I should have just jammed my chips in. And after me, the rockets went all in. And, I actually dodged them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the fact that I learned so much from you about poker was also super for me as the experience, because I'm absolutely sure that I'm continuing poker, especially with some friends, because then it's even more fun.
Yeah, love to hear it. Love to hear it. Anyone who considers going into streaming or pursuing a rather unconventional career, such as pro gamer or whatever it is, poker player, I guess it's something that is not necessarily being 100% accepted by society. So in your environment, you have someone who is a little bit judgmental, you know, who might try to talk you out of it and be like, yeah, why don't you get a traditional career? It's safe, you know. And especially when you have to face a lot of contra for what you want to do, what would your advice be to a younger 15, 16, 17-year-old one? Even someone that is 35 and wants to start streaming on Twitch, but he's afraid of all this, you know, people being judgmental. Like, what would be your advice to be to someone like him or her?
I think the most important thing, especially if you have like parents or other family members that judge you because of what you are dreaming about, is that you always have a plan B. So it's not that you put everything on one card. You have always a backup plan, and as you said, like the young people 15, 16, or like me 19, we have nothing to lose if we are trying to live the dream for, like, let's say a year. We are still young, and yeah, normally I would say go for it, but one thing you should always keep in mind is that not everyone can make it, and when you see it's not going to work out, don't chase it forever. Chase it like say you are going to chase it for a year or something like that, but after that you should yeah, like think about, is it still a good idea, and yeah, as I said, don't go all in on it. Always have a plan B, and yeah, that's what I would recommend to everyone thinking about something like this.
That's a very good advice. It's never too bad to have a backup plan. And usually, what most people are afraid of is like, what happens if it goes wrong? Most case, it's sleeping on a couch, on a friend's couch, or going back into your old job, or just starting 1 or 2 years later. But give it
when you're young.
Especially when you're young. Try it out, give it a try, and give a fuck about what people have to say when they're toxic, when they're negative. Just do your thing. And I mean, if I would count all the messages and all the hate that I received throughout my entire career up until today, I would probably just be crying in my bed all day long. But that happens. Luckily, guys, I'm really appreciating also the positive messages, and they're way more important, and they're way more than negative messages, but that's part of the game, and you gotta accept it or not. And thank you for being here today. Maybe we're gonna repeat it in the near future. If you enjoyed this kind of format, I wish you all the best and good luck with your streaming and teamfight tactics. And then we're gonna end the stream. Bye guys, ciao.
Bye.